And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of September 17th, 2018 are about to head your way. So go ahead and press the record button. As always, thank you for broadcasting and listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. The key to success can be hard to find, just like the key to your heart. But I know a car key whose loss can leave you flat out of luck. When I come back, I'll tell you why.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, earn double points during Old Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Black Cats and Friday the 13th aside, not having this key when you have a flat tire is truly bad luck. It's called a lug nut key, and its purpose is to prevent thieves from stealing custom wheels or expensive wheel covers. But unfortunately, if you misplace it, it also prevents you from changing a flat tire. Consult Owner's Manual to see if your wheels require a lug nut key, and if so, keep it handy. Otherwise, at flat tire time, you'll be flat out of luck. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. When I say Elvis, you hear music. Mention Kennedy and politics comes to mind. But what picture does the name Monroney conjure up? When we come back, I'll tell you the shocking truth.
O'Reilly.
Improve visibility and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, earn double points during Old Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Not since Jerry Springer or Howard Stern has one man's brainchild caused so much shock. Yes, the Monroney label, commonly known as the window sticker on new vehicles, was introduced by Senator Elmer Monroney in 1958. Ushering in the age of consumerism, the senator thought it made sense for people to have detailed information about what they were buying. But shoppers aren't the only ones who suffer sticker shock. Dealers can be fined up to $10,000 for each vehicle missing Senator Monroney's label. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Your future's so bright, you gotta wear shades. To protect your eyes from the sun glare, that is. But what's the future of your four-wheeled friend in the sun? When I come back, it's summer school.
O'Reilly.
Improve visibility and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, earn double points during Old Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Summer heat affects us two-legged units. It's true. But it also takes its toll on the finish of our four-wheeled cars and trucks. Like us, our vehicles get sunburned. Ultraviolet rays accelerate the aging process and diminish shine. In addition, hot summer temperatures can literally bake in acid from bugs, bird droppings, tree sap, and leaves. So to ensure a bright finish and future for your vehicle, treat it to a full body wash and wax now and follow up with frequent washings all summer. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Your future's so bright, you gotta wear shades. To protect your eyes from the sun glare, that is. But what's the future of your four-wheeled friend in the sun? When I come back, it's summer school.
O'Reilly.
Improve visibility and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, earn double points during Old Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Summer heat affects us two-legged units. It's true. But it also takes its toll on the finish of our four-wheeled cars and trucks. Like us, our vehicles get sunburned. Ultraviolet rays accelerate the aging process and diminish shine. In addition, hot summer temperatures can literally bake in acid from bugs, bird droppings, tree sap, and leaves. So to ensure a bright finish and future for your vehicle, treat it to a full body wash and wax now and follow up with frequent washings all summer. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Need an energy boost for your family vacation? Then pack some jelly rolls and a six-pack right under your hood. When I come back, it's today's automotive special at the Aftermarket Diner.
Oh, O'Reilly.
Improve visibility and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, earn double points during Old Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Like kids, cars may call for extra juice this summer. And Exide Corporation serving up the latest battery special. Unlike the flat plates of traditional batteries, Exide's Orbital Select curls its 6 elements into spiral wound configurations that look like jelly rolls. Each roll is then placed in its own Coke can-like container. As a whole, the battery resembles a 6-pack of soda or pop and delivers to your car what your vacation delivers to you. Increased cranking power and faster charging. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Good morning, folks. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we come to you and from the center of the automotive universe. And I'll say that with all seriousness, this broadcast studio is located within a 15,000 square foot automotive service facility. Studio we built in '96. The radio production we started in 1991. So 27 years and ongoing. And inside our service facility, Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, that's located in Pensacola, Florida, along the Gulf Coast. I think of Ivan. When I think of Florida and I think of the Gulf Coast in 2004, and then I equate that to Florence, that all of the Carolinas are having to deal with today. So special heart goes out to those folks, and Also, just, after the dust settles, or there is no dust, but after the water settles, just remember there will be a lot of automobiles that will have recycling titles or whatever. So be careful what you buy from that area afterwards. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you this morning in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you're guaranteed to get the best everyday low price on the parts you need. A little more about O'Reilly when I come back, and a little more about lots of automotive items. Don't go away. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. At our car clinic service shop, our customers depend on our team to solve their car repair problems. They also bring their vehicles to us for routine maintenance services that, with newer cars, sustain their factory warranties. So whether our job is replacing a leaking radiator, installing new brakes, or performing a simple wheel alignment, the parts we use must meet OEM specs. That's why our first call for parts is O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts employees are professionals. They know car parts, and they understand our service team's got to have the right part first time, every time. If you're a car owner, you want your car fixed right with quality parts and by service professionals. Trained technicians using the latest technologies, installing parts that fit. O'Reilly Auto Parts for sure. Whatever you drive, find a shop you like, have them inspect your vehicle twice a year, and ask for O'Reilly Auto Parts. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Time for another edition of Cooling System Q&A, brought to you by Motorrad, your first choice for vehicle thermostats and caps. Today's question: what role does the radiator pressure cap play? The pressure cap regulates internal pressure in the system using two valves, a pressor and a depressor. The pressure cap controls the release of hot coolant into the recovery tank as the coolant expands from the heat, all the while maintaining pressure that is critical to preventing overheating. Turn the engine off, the antifreeze cools down, causing a vacuum in the system as the internal pressure decreases. This decrease in pressure could cause hoses to collapse and coolant levels to be incorrect. This expansion and contraction of coolant in and out of the recovery tank helps to maintain proper coolant levels. This is why it's critical to regularly inspect and replace when necessary your radiator pressure cap. Motorrad offers the best coverage of thermostats and pressure caps in the world for virtually any vehicle and engine on or off the road. Motorrad, leading the way in coverage and service. For more, go to motorradusa.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow, now you're here. Your aroma helps me wake and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and here's what I'd like for you to do. You can think of a car question, and the only dumb car question, by the way, folks, is the one that you do not ask. So if you have a question about your particular automobile, or maybe you're trying to find, parents, you're trying to find a used automobile and you need some guidance as to how to go about that. There are darn few things that individuals in the automotive service are experts. In fact, I don't know that there are many experts in the world. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I am well versed because I have years and years from a profession in the automotive service and repair, and my obsession and my hobby and cars and my passion. Really, it's a passion. But there are few, and you ladies, you know that men like everything to be black and white. You know, it's either black or white. Well, that's not the case at all. A lot of gray areas. But with regard to a pre-purchase inspection, like, is this going to be a good car for me, and would you please check it out? We've performed thousands of those pre-purchase inspections, and we've saved a lot of people a lot of money. So if you're in the market to buy a used car or to buy a new car, but specifically maybe for a college student that's in the house and going away to college, there's some do's and there's some do nots. And if you have a particular question with that regard in that arena, feel free to call 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546, 888 Car Clinic. And Hannah will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will be glad to answer your questions. I would say that from an experienced, not an expert, but from an experienced point of view, yours truly has a lot of experience on pre-purchase inspections. We've actually made a lot of sellers upset. We've upset a lot of sellers, including dealers. And then we've saved a lot of people money, but as it evolved, as that service evolved in our 47 years of performing pre-purchase inspections, there are many dealers and we're talking local level here, within a 100-mile radius, maybe even longer from a specialty car further distance. But now the smart dealers are choosing the best cars for the buyer, and then they're using our reputation to say, well, this is a good car. Take it over to Likis and have him check it out. True story. And all that means is that that saves the buyer, that would be you, time and anguish and frustration and all those things that we have to deal with in life that we can't do much about. Well, in this case, I can help you with that. So to that end, our Car Clinic friend there in Panama City, Bill, sent me an article from the Wall Street Journal. Now, for those of you, I doubt there's anyone tuned in who's not familiar with the Wall Street Journal. I have a great deal of respect for the Wall Street Journal. I want to share with you this article because I found it very interesting, and it was more about, and this was a recent article, but it's more about storing older cars. And there's a few as great points. So I want to say that, for the author of this article. But there are a couple of points that have, the idea is there, the delivery is totally wrong and totally inept. It just doesn't work. So I want to share that with you, and I'm going to do that now. So this advice is more about storing, as I said, older cars. One of the basically, let me get started. Let's review the advice. Quoting now. Storing a car might not be as simple as parking it in the garage and throwing a tarp over top, but that's no way to treat such precious machinery, according to Michael Piccinello. Piccinello, there you go. He's the director and co-founder of the Classic Car Club Manhattan, a members-only luxury car sharing and social club. He details the ideal steps to take before putting an automobile away for an extended period and explains why water is the nemesis of any steel four-wheeler. Now, I agree. Water is the kiss of death with regard to storing a car. So let's review a couple of his points here. The first thing, he says, drain the beast. Hey, I'm with him. Sort of. The first thing an owner should do before putting a car away for some more than 6 months is to change the oil and filter. And I agree with that. And he opened the New York City outpost of the London Club in 2005. And he suggests running the car for about an hour to get its juices circulating, and then go get a pizza, he says. Then on your way home, fill the tank with gas so there's less opportunity for condensate in the tank. To prevent the petrol from congealing into the consistency of lacquer, Mr. Piccinello suggests picking up a small bottle of gasoline stabilizer. Okay, what does that mean? I agree. Get the car hot, fill the tank, actually within 95% of it, and add a can of fuel stabilizer. So I agree, he's right on the money there. You want to store the car with a full tank so that the walls of the gas tank are not exposed to air that circulates in and out, because condensate forms, and that's water in the tank and falls to the bottom of the tank and can cause problems, and that is true. Ethanol is believed, that's just totally wrong. It's believed that it reaches up and grabs the moisture and puts it in the gas and causes problems. Well, that's exactly the opposite is true. Ethanol suspends 26 times more water than gasoline, and therefore allows the whatever water is in the tank to harmlessly go through the system and be burned or actually be vaporized in the cylinder. So I'll move on here. At the storage spot, open the hood and disconnect the battery. I agree. I almost agree. Then remove the spark plugs. And here's where I disagree. Take some motor, and I'm quoting, take some motor oil and pour about a half a cap into each cylinder to keep any water repelled from the metal before putting the spark plugs back in, he says. Then plug in a trickle charger and attach it to the battery. This keeps a little bit of current in the battery so you know it'll start when you're ready. Now, folks, you cannot pour oil into a cylinder of a spark plug, because if you do, it would be like opening your mouth and pouring into your lower lip and expecting that to get into the roof of your mouth and everything else. In the first place, a lot of cars, you can't get the plug out, and even if you did and poured oil in there, a cap full of oil would only fill just not even the finger of your hand area. So with all due respect, what you should do is pour about 4 ounces. This is just before you put this car to bed. You pour about 4 ounces through the intake of the engine, and that will cause it to smoke, because that oil will permeate everything that's moving, including the cylinders, the valves, the intake, the piston area, the ring area, and even the exhaust. And then when you're finished, and you don't let the engine die, when you're finished pouring this oil into the engine and you got a billow of smoke, shut it down. And of course, you want to make sure that you don't shut it down and continue pouring oil, because that'll hydraulic lock. And also, with regard to the advice from the Wall Street Journal, to pour a half a cap of oil, and it doesn't say whether it's a half a cap or half a cup or whatever. I'm sure it's a half a cap from the oil container into the cylinder. That just doesn't allow for any saturation or spreading of oil within the cylinder. So my point for saying this is I talked about being expert, and obviously maybe he's an expert at storing cars or a car club, but this doesn't work in reality. So no flame intended here, none whatsoever. In fact, I think I'll have him on the program. I'll get him on the program, and he and I can discuss his advice. Anyway, he goes on to say, any car can handle being stored almost indefinitely as long as the environment is right. Ideally, the car should be kept in a temperature-controlled space rather than outdoors. I agree there. And so if it's a perfect world, store it in a third bedroom in your home. For all intents and purposes, he's right there. And what a great place that would be to have a humidity control, air conditioner facility to store it in. You still have to address the fluids and what have you. Then he talks about using a car cover that is breathable. I agree 100%. And a breathable car cover keeps the moisture out, but will breathe so that the condensate that always occurs under the car cover will, when the humidity and the sun comes out and the humidity is reduced, whatever is trapped between the cover and the car will evaporate and go through the cover and go away. So that's good. Then he says when you crank it up, be gentle and let it idle a while and just kind of get its juices flowing. I agree with there. So there are a lot of there's a lot of great advice out there, but how do you know where to take it? But again, a special thanks to my friend Bill Wager there, who tunes in to WLTG, Panama City's car clinic affiliate, for sending me this article. And you can find this article, I'm sure, in the Wall Street Journal. And again, a special thanks to Mr. Piccinello, who almost got it right. I'm Bobby Likis. I'll come back and take a call from Wayne and your call at 888-227-2546. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe touched on why many of today's vehicles are better suited for this technology. Let's hear from Joe.
Attributes that make your vehicle a good candidate for an AGM battery really depend on the electrical demands that are placed on the battery within your vehicle, as well as potentially the vehicle application, such as start-stop. Most vehicles manufactured in recent years actually contain more than 150 electrical accessories, including backup cameras, navigation systems, heated seats, even power windows, which are part of our everyday lives. Our AGM batteries are manufactured to meet these electrical demands. Additionally, if you have something in your car such as start-stop technology, you need an AGM battery to help ensure you are effectively powering your vehicle during this stop event.
Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. Learn more at autobatteries.com. A 2000 Chrysler Concorde with a 2.7 V6 recently came into the shop. The owner was having issues with low oil pressure and a warning light. After testing and inspection, we found sludge in the engine. The owner was partly to blame as he had not changed the oil often enough. But sludge buildup is a common problem in this engine. Do you overhaul this old engine in this old car? Well, maybe, but Berryman Engine Oil Flush may help. Berryman Engine Oil Flush quickly and safely removes harmful sludge and other deposits in the crankcase of all gasoline and diesel engines without using aggressive solvents. Berryman frees sticky valves and lifters for quieter operation, opens restricted oil passages that improve overall oil circulation. Berryman's Engine Oil Flush is compatible with all single-grade and multi-grade conventional and synthetic gasoline and diesel engine oils. Drive to BerrymanProducts.com for more information and to check out Berryman Engine Oil Flush. That's BerrymanProducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thanks for tuning in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I appreciate your confidence in me, and I'm here to help you meet your car challenges. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you're guaranteed to get the everyday low price on the parts that you need. In fact, O'Reilly Auto Parts guarantees low prices and ensure that you're always getting their best deal. In fact, O'Reilly Auto Parts will match any local auto parts store's price on any like item. They have the parts you need at the prices you can be sure of. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. We'll take a call from Wayne. Wayne, thank you for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a 2005 Buick Teresa van. I've had a problem with it pulling to the left. Anyway, I had got the alignment done and all that from a really reputable place.
Okay.
I had a left hub bearing, wheel bearing that was needed to be replaced, they said. Prior to that, about a year before that, I had a right hub wheel bearing replaced. And then they also said I needed new brakes because the brake apparently weren't the same on the left and right. I'm not sure what that has to do with alignment, but anyway. And then they checked the tires and all that. Everything looked good, but it's, I went back a couple of times. They've adjusted, but it still pulls to the left. And most recently, I had the front end was just really shaking bad, and I went to another tire place and found out the front tire, one of them was separating. So I ended up getting new tires and balance and all that stuff, and the alignment's pretty good, but it still pulls, or not as drastically, but it drifts to the left. And it's kind of when you're going down the interstate or whatever, you're still kind of fighting the drift to the left. I have other cars, and you can take your hands off the steering wheel and it goes 5 miles before you got to touch it.
Yeah, but, I hear what you're saying.
I'm not sure what the deal is. The steering wheel itself, when the alignment did the alignment, the wheel is kind of not centered. I mentioned about that, and they said, well, that's the nature of the beast or something, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
well,
I'm kind of puzzled as to what.
So, Wayne, let me help you. So, first, you mentioned the brakes were not the same as the right or left. That implied from your statement that it had ABC brakes on the right and XYZ brakes on the left. I think what they meant when they said the brakes are not the same is that the brake was wearing more on one side. So the brakes weren't the same, but that was kind of, a blank statement. I think they meant that the brakes weren't wearing the same because you had this hub bearing, and that would cause erratic and strange wear because the hub keeps the rotor, which mounts on the hub, onto the caliper. So all of that has to be in parallel. So that said, I do believe that you had bad tires, and I don't know why the first shop didn't find that. And then you said it was shaking. So if you'd been back several times, I don't understand that part as well.
I went up north on a long trip, and
right.
You're fighting it, and I got back, and 2-3 months later, the tire had been separating, I think, for a long time, but nobody recognized her.
Yeah, that certainly can happen because the tire doesn't forewarn you, and unless you're. Well, I agree with that. So, all right, let's move on. Number one, you have new tires now. There's a statement that you made that is totally wrong. For the steering wheel to be off center is not the nature of the beast. In fact, that is the easiest to adjust on a car. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it within one finger, one way left or the other, because as you're driving down the highway, if you're on the right side of the road where the water drains, you'll have to hold the steering wheel a little bit to the left. If you're on the interstate and you're on the center next to the medium, then that's not true, because the highway's a different plane there. So having said that, it appears that you're going to have to find yet a third shop to adjust the tie rod ends, which dictate the toe end of the vehicle and the relative position of the steering wheel. Having said that, you could have a camber issue, and there may or may not be a camber adjustment to your automobile. If you have a camber problem, then you may have to make adjustments, and the way those adjustments might be made would be to modify the mounting of the top of the car, and there are few alignment shops that will get into modifying an automobile, especially when their alignment machine shows that it's within specifications. But a true experienced alignment person will align the car with known quality tires and known quality hubs and bearings, will align that vehicle to where it drives correctly, whether or not it's within specifications. And I say that because a year ago or so, I had a Lexus. Hold on just a minute. I had to clear my throat. I had a Lexus that the manufacturer, Lexus factory, could not repair, and it was pulling to the right. And it went on for ever and ever. And we had to offset the subframe of that car and point the subframe in the left direction because there were no alignment adjustments that could stop this car that would lead to the right. Didn't pull like you're implying. It just, you always had to, on a 400-mile trip, when you got halfway there, you say, well, my hand's always holding it to the left or holding the steering wheel to the right. So I said
that's what I've been doing.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So I said all that to say that you're going to have to find someone who takes on this project and does what it takes to correct what the car is doing that you don't like, even if it means that the car is not correctly aligned according to the specification of the manufacturer. And to that end, and I'll close, Wayne, with telling you this very Lexus, to this day, that was returned to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer, the dealership called me, and I sent a PDF of all the work that we had done on this car, because it had already been to the dealer several times. And they said, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set this frame back straight and start from scratch. And so ultimately they replaced one upright, and they used the process that we had started and moved that subframe, not back in alignment, but as far as the bolts would allow it to go. I think we had it, maybe 85% of the slack in the bolts. And it's not made to move around, but all bolts that retain an item have to have clearance for the bolt to go through. And so there's clearance enough in the 4 main bolts that hold a subframe under this Lexus that you could loosen the bolts, you could kick the left side back and kick the right side forward. And ultimately what that did was it aimed the engine, the transmission, and the steering components to the left. So the car is going straight down the road, and the rest of it's going to the left. Anyway, the bottom line is you got to find somebody that does what they have to do to fix the problem. And if it's not according to the OEMs, so be it, because that's what you need to be satisfied with the car, and that's what I do if the car were mine. And there are some times that there are other circumstances, but since you've got new tires on this car and it's aligned properly, well, it's not aligned properly. If it were aligned properly, the steering wheel would be straight ahead. And then last but not least, and I'll move on, some cars have electronic steering and sensors that must be recentered after the alignment. And this helps the safety of with the pitch and yaw and ABS and traction control and stability control. It keeps all of that on the same page. So I suspect that you're going to have to go to a higher level plane automotive service facility that has master ASE certified technicians and someone with old-fashioned experience to fix the problem. So I wish you well, and I thank you for calling. So the best thing to do is to call around and find a shop in your neck of the woods that will take on this project and then road test before you ever leave the car again with another shop. Road test the car and show a technician what your car is doing you don't like. Then pull over, let that technician drive your car so that he or she feels and drives and experiences the same problem. And then you can rest assured that they and you are on the same page. Hey, thank you so much for calling, and I appreciate it. We got a special guest in the house. Sandra is on the line, and we're going to take her call, and Randy as well, and also Jason Searle. And folks, I've invited Jason to join us today, who is from Johnson Controls, because one of the biggest challenges in our industry is electronics. And electronics control so much of the automobile, and no pun intended, but everything starts with the battery, literally, and that power. And the AGM battery is one that is my favorite. And so Jason, I have some questions to ask him. By the way, he's the Vice President of Advanced Lead-Acid Battery Technology with Johnson Controls. So he's going to be joining us when we come back from this hard break. And Sandra and Randy, I would ask for your patience. I'll come to you in that order as quickly as we get Jason and get through Jason. And folks, also I have another to do, and that's a LED lighting system. One of our Car Clinic viewers on our Watch Bobby Live asked about modifying his lights and changing it to installing an LED headlight system in a vehicle. In turn, I reached out to a technical contact team at Sylvania, and I'll share with you what I learned after we get our calls. But coming up, we're going to have Jason, and then we're going to have Sandra, and then Randy, and your calls at 888-227-2546. Don't go away. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe talked about the many different factors that can affect battery performance. Also touched on what differentiates Johnson Controls AGM batteries from other manufacturers. Let's hear from Joe.
There are a variety of factors that influence the performance of a battery, including your driving style, driving environment, and distance, as well as climate. Basic habits that we may not think about actually have a substantial impact on your battery. So, for example, making frequent stops while running errands, driving in rush hour traffic, additionally driving on rough roads, or even driving aggressively with fast accelerations and hard braking, those all put wear on your battery. With its compressed cell design and glass mat separators, our AGM battery is precision engineered with a more robust design to excel in these conditions.
AGM batteries help meet the electrical demands put on today's vehicles, and Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries. Learn more at autobatteries.com. That's autobatteries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. On the hotline with us now is Jason Searle. Jason is Vice President of Advanced Lead-Acid Battery Technology for Johnson Controls. Active in the industry, Jason's a member of multiple Battery Council International Work Groups and IEEE. Participates in industry conferences as speaker and panelist, has published papers This man knows his business and holds patents and participates in the international educational enrichment programs. It's my pleasure to welcome him back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Jason, glad to have you in the house.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby.
Okay, just a quick for my Car Clinic listeners and viewers, what does IEEE stand for?
So it's also known as IEEE. It's the International Engineering Consortium, and basically it's bringing technical minds together to talk about, how applications are changing, how is the industry serving those applications.
Got it. So to that end, help our Car Clinic listeners and viewers better understand what an AGM battery is, and secondly, does installing an AGM battery in place of the original lead-acid battery have any effect on the vehicle's electrical or charging system?
So an AGM battery is an absorbent glass mat battery. So AGM stands for absorbent glass mat. It's a precision-engineered lead-acid battery in terms of how it's built, its components. It differs from flooded battery technology, as all the electrolyte, or also as we know it, acid, is absorbed within this glass mat that I had mentioned and within the plates of the battery. The battery itself has a valve-regulated system installed, which promotes a unique feature called recombination. And recombination is the process which takes battery gases that are generated and replenishes them back into water into the cell. The one thing that's unique for AGM batteries, they're ideally suited for today's high electrical demand conventional vehicles and high electrical demand start-stop vehicles, where the application has really changed, where cycling and safety are becoming a critical part of how a battery needs to perform. The AGM provides ultimate performance in charge-discharge cycling, and it's the safest lead-acid battery in a non-spillable design.
And Jason, to that end, tell us a little more about the vibration-resistant factor that the AGM batteries deliver.
Sure. So AGM batteries are more vibration-resistant than standard flooded batteries, and it's due to the battery construction where the cells are packed tightly and under high compression. This holds the internal materials tightly together to resist breakdown. And how it differs versus a flooded battery, the flooded batteries are loosely positioned in a free-flowing electrolyte, which makes them more susceptible to the vibration damage. And one other thing we should probably talk about here, what's real important regarding AGM technology, is its ability to cycle. With that technology, we are able to optimize the performance in the key areas that flooded batteries cannot, which is operation and partial state of charge, ability to recharge quickly, and ability to charge and discharge repetitively. So that cycle performance really is becoming also a key part of how batteries need to serve not only today's demands, but also the increasing demands for tomorrow.
We're talking with Jason Searle, Vice President of Advanced Lead-Acid Battery Technology for Johnson Controls. So, Jason, is there a particular type of vehicle that's better suited for AGM battery?
So that's an interesting question, and the vehicle type I would define as high demand or high electrical demand vehicles are best suited by AGM. And when we define high demand vehicles, they're not limited specifically only to a vehicle type, but they can be, for example, the common examples of luxury vehicles, trucks, minivans and SUVs, but they can also be common sedans, like a Toyota Camry or a Hyundai Elantra. And there are three key points to understand, why AGM is better suited and how it's going to serve. The first point is, the vehicle demand due to electrical devices on board and how that vehicle is managing those loads and utilizing the battery. So more devices, utilizing the battery as managing those loads puts more pressure on the battery's ability to perform. It's how the person is going to use the vehicle. So short trips put a lot of stress on the battery's ability to perform, limiting the ability to get recharge from the alternator. And it's also the environment that the battery is operating within. So high underhood temperatures, high external temperature extremes, and traffic patterns with increasing urbanization, needs to be considered because they're all putting more and more pressure on the battery's ability to perform, making AGM a better solution.
Well, I have another question, but I think you've already answered my question. From where I sit and my Car Clinic listeners, I was going to ask if
the consumer should pay more for a premium battery, an AGM, over a standard battery. But I think you've answered that question as far as what particular automobile. The criteria that you mentioned sort of fits all the cars that are new and on the market today, with all of the driver demands and start-stop. It's been out for some time now. So let's shift gears then. With our Car Clinic listeners and viewers beginning to turn their attention to the fall and the winter months, does the AGM battery outperform the standard battery in cold weather?
So AGM batteries do offer ultimate performance in temperature extremes, but both in cold and hot weather. When we talk about cold, though, specifically, AGM does provide superior recharge performance versus flooded technology. And when you combine, that with the increasing demands of the vehicle and the user, AGM for cold temperature performance does offer the ultimate peace of mind.
So, Jason, just one last question. Where can our Car Clinic consumers find more information about AGM batteries?
So we do have a lot of information out there. There is a couple of places online that you can access. One that I'd highly recommend is autobatteries.com, so autobatteries.com. And that has a lot of information not only on battery technology, the application, how things are changing, best technology to serve the increasing demands of how vehicles are being used and what's on board with them. And the other one I'd recommend is our website, johnsoncontrols.com, or you can also use the letters jci.com and quickly access our website there. Under Power Solutions, you can see different information on battery technology, how it's changing, and how AGM batteries are becoming a huge part of how this market's being served.
And just one final question, Jason. We're talking with Jason Searle, Vice President of Advanced Lead-Acid Battery Technology for Johnson Controls. If you can, in 15 seconds, tell us a little bit about the global company, Johnson Controls.
Sure. So Johnson Controls is a global company. We are serving different markets that include not only the power solutions or batteries and automotive batteries globally, also HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and security systems. Our area specifically, in the power solutions area, we are the largest manufacturer of automotive batteries globally, and we are the only manufacturer that offers locally produced AGM batteries globally to serve these increasing demands of what's coming on board in vehicles, how the vehicles are used, and the more challenging environments they're being used within.
Well, it's safe to say that Johnson Controls is well suited to provide the best batteries for aftermarket cars and also for OEMs. Jason, thank you so much for joining me on Bobby Likis Car Clinic today and for the great information on AGM batteries. I just love it.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Yeah, and the fact is, one more, well, Jason's gone now, but one more little important note. He talked about cycling, and folks, cycling just means that you run the battery down, you charge it up. Well, that happens all the time, up and down, because batteries never stay, as you're driving or parked the car, they never stay in the same state of charge. So, and if you'll remember, your last iPhone or your last regular phone, whatever phone it is, the real challenge with phones is that they need more space, and then the batteries get old and they don't work and they don't last, and at the end of the day or halfway through the day, the battery runs down. So he mentioned the battery management system. Tesla recently came out with a new battery management system, and they downloaded it to their cars, and that added to the life of the original Tesla battery that could almost, in fact, I gave a report on a Tesla at 400,000 miles, and it had two batteries put in. The first battery at I forget what the mileage was now, but I've got that report in my records, did not need to be replaced had it been for the software update, but of course that car was manufactured before the software update. So just want you to know how important a battery is to your automobile, because the quicker you can get a car to light off, then the less wear and tear on the starter, the cylinders, the flywheel, and all the gears that turn over very slowly that gears don't like to do. They like to be up and running. And so those are the kind of things that you need to remember. So hats off to Johnson Controls and Jason Searle, who is the vice president there of the Advanced Lead-Acid Battery Technology. And for more information that you need to know, go to autobatteries.com. Now we'll take a call from Sandra. Sandra, thank you for holding. It's your turn. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
Good morning.
So nice to talk to you. Sebring loves you, Bobby.
Likewise, my dear.
Well, the reason I'm calling you is because I've listened to you for many, many, many years. You have saved me thousands of dollars, and I am trying to buy a 2009 Toyota Prius. The problem is the car is 145 miles away from me. So I went last night to look at the car, and because I listened to you, I hired it's by owner.
Okay.
So I hired a mobile mechanic to go and test the car for me.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, and he put the computer on there, and it came up with 5 codes, plus a couple little other things, but he basically said it didn't have problems, it drove well, there weren't any leaks, and I was wondering, on these 5 computer codes that came up that are problematic, he said there's nothing serious. How do I have a very, very good mechanic here in Sebring, and it's Chris Toller. And I was wondering, if I give these codes to my mechanic, can he help me figure out what they mean?
Well, Sandra, yeah, that's easy because we have under the specifications of any automobile that we work on in any shop, you can determine what a code implies. But there's a very important, and so far you've done an outstanding job of doing your due diligence before you write the check for this car.
That's because of you.
Well, thank you. That, as I said, likewise. But I want you to know this: just because this car had 5 codes, I recently checked my car, and there are like 15 codes in there, and those codes were like rear seat entertainment package failed to communicate. I mean, it works, but it failed to communicate at one point in time. It's like the flicker in your lights in your home. Whoa, what was that? And then it's all gone. Well, and that's because the current coming into the house, or maybe the substation for the power company, flickered and maybe had a voltage break, and then it automatically switched over to another support backup mechanism. But if your house were a car, the computer would store a code. The check engine light wouldn't necessarily come on, but it would say, oh, wait, there was a flicker. Oh, wait, there's another flicker. Oh, wait, the tire pressure. Oh, it's okay now. So, and I talk about this from time to time, maybe too technically so people don't get it, but the bottom line is the onboard, the electronic control module that drives your car and tunes your car retains glitches. These glitches accumulate. So when you have a particular problem with the car, the worst thing you can do is, for one mechanic that can't fix the car, is to have the codes removed, because then there's no history, and somewhere in those glitches there might be one important factor. It's like when you go to a doctor. The doctor asks you a lot of questions like, well, how do you feel today, and how do you feel when you get up in the morning? And really that doctor is not asking you how you feel today. That doctor is providing a range of questions, trying to uncover some symptom that you don't know how to convey, because you're not a doctor. So your car is manufactured to do the same thing. So Sandra, I do not want you to worry about the codes, but your first job that you're going to do here is to talk with Tober, and I'm glad you have a great technician there in Sebring.
Toller, it's Toller.
Toller. Talk with Mr.
Tolar.
Okay.
He's really good.
Talk to
He's
Mr.
honest.
Toller. That is great. That honest that's the word. So talk with him. Let him open and expose the codes, and if you have a code that's entertainment, or a glitch here, a glitch there, what have you.
Well, one of them was a tire sensor gauge.
Oh,
so
well,
we know
see
that's
there,
not that
I just
important.
mentioned that. So that's a no-brainer. That's easy. But let's get back, because I want you to know this. And here's what's important. You need to ask the owner to see the service records, because you have no recourse when you buy this car. It's not like a dealership or a used car lot where you can go back and have the opportunity to get some help if there's a problem. You ask the owner for the service records of this car. So if he was a good car owner, a steward of this automobile, he'll have records of when the oil was changed and when the tires are rotated and what have you. Having said that, a used Toyota is my number one go-to when my customers ask me what's a good car to buy. And a used Prius is a used Toyota. In fact, Fabio, our producer, drives a what's your year, Fabio, is your Toyota?
It's 04.
He drives an 04 Toyota with 200,000 miles on it that looks like it's got 200,000, but it runs as well as it ever did. Sandra, thank you so much for your kind words. That's all the time we have for this hour's broadcast of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Motorrad, a longtime OE supplier, is the leader in automotive thermostats and fuel and oil coolant caps. Motorrad's state-of-the-art quality control and functional testing systems ensure high-quality, long-lasting products. Motorrad delivers world-class product development, providing all the parts and accessories needed to do the job right the first time, every time. Motorrad offers the best coverage of thermostats and closure caps in the world for virtually any vehicle and engine on or off the road. Motorrad, leading the way in coverage and service.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And I want to welcome you to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We've already have one in the books. This is our second hour, and every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we come to you from the center of the automotive universe with tons of information. And what I really enjoy about this program, even on those days that you say, well, gosh, is there anything that we can talk about that we haven't already talked about? And the answer is always, always, always. So, but what I really enjoy is the fact that you ask questions, and when I don't know the answer to those questions, I have a team right here in-house and that team is Jonathan Sloan, and he helps me because we dig more deeply into the specifics. But overall, there's not much about automobiles that we haven't seen and we can't help you with. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part this morning by Diablo Sport. And folks, the time to add power and save money is today. You can take advantage of the great rebate savings from Diablo Sport and equip your ride with power that you can feel. The rebate offers include the Predator 2, the Intune i3, and the Trinity 2. You can learn more at diablosport.com. And also, I'll take your calls when I come back at 888-227-2546. First up was going to be Randy, and then your calls. Hannah will take your call, put you in the queue, and I'll put you on the air. I'll be back. We recently worked on an 03 Buick Park Avenue with a 3.8 engine, and the vehicle had been a workhorse, 190,000 miles and more. That said, fuel economy had slipped from 24 mpg to 19. On cold startup, the check engine light flashed. In addition to rough idling, engine fuel trim pointed toward carbon issues. A quick scan revealed random misfire code P0300. The codes were cleared, and after a visual inspection of the ignition system and fuel filter change, we added a can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool to a fresh tank of fuel. After a 400-mile round trip and a second can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool, fuel economy was back to 24 miles per gallon and idle quality was restored. Many times, complex running issues are traced to carbon issues on today's vehicles. Fuel system maintenance starts with simple tank additives as the first step in carbon cleaning your engine. The next time your vehicle is sluggish or experiencing fuel economy that's not up to par, try Berryman B12 Chem Tool. Learn more at berrymanproducts.com. That's berrymanproducts.com. We recently had an 03 Jeep Liberty in the shop with almost 90,000 miles. The vehicle was used primarily for short trips and losing coolant over a quarter week. With no external leaks, we knew it was an internal loss. Could have been a blown head gasket, as this is a common failure, or worse, could have been an internal crack. So here were the options. Tear the engine down and try to repair it, or find a less expensive alternative, like K-Seal. As you can probably imagine, the vehicle owner chose K-Seal, and it worked. Following directions on the can, we shook the container to mix the contents completely, added K-Seal to the radiator, making sure the vehicle was cool, and then had the owner resume normal everyday driving. We checked the vehicle 1 month later, and no coolant loss was found. What could have been a costly repair was instead a modest labor charge plus a bottle of K-Seal. Learn more about K-Seal at kseal.com. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started right away. A very patient individual. We're going to take Randy's phone call, and then Hannah will take your call at 888-227-2546. Randy, thanks a bunch for holding, and welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, long-time listener, big fan.
Thank you.
You're my most trusted source.
Appreciate.
The wait was no problem, trust me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope I can help you this morning.
Well, I've got a 2002 Dodge Ram pickup, four-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
I've kept it very well maintained. It's got a little over 200,000 miles on it.
Right.
The front end was rebuilt, all the tie rods, the control arms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a very tight driving vehicle, very well handling vehicle. I, a few months ago, had the entire air conditioning replaced. Pulled the dash off, obviously. Noticed that when I got the vehicle back, there was a lot of play in the steering wheel. And it was just very strange to me. I went back to them. They suggested that I replace the steering box, which was another $400, so I did that. And still did it. And I had new tires put on it, and I'm just at a loss. It seems very odd to me, but I'm just curious what you can come up with.
Oh, yeah, the steering shaft. I'm going through the steps of what it takes to for an evap core and all those things. So here's my just first gut, and this may be right, as is most often for me, I'm proud to say. The steering shaft, is connected to the steering wheel on your end, and it's connected to the joint at the bottom end, and the joint then connects to the steering box, okay? So in other words, what you've got is, for all intents and purposes, a pogo stick that connects the steering wheel to the box, because in the event of a crash, it cannot be a solid shaft, because then it would push the steering wheel and the nut basically through the airbag into your chest. I mean, old cars, that was just the way it was. I mean, when I think about that, I think about how dangerous those old cars were. So the steering shaft that is within the mast jacket, and the mast jacket, Randy, is that bigger collar that holds the turn signal switch and where the ignition key goes in. That's called a mast jacket, and within that you have all these turning parts. You got the turn signal switch under the steering wheel. You have the wires that go down between the steering shaft and the mast jacket, and the mast jacket secures the steering column assembly. So usually you don't have to remove the steering column assembly to get the dash out, but you do have to drop it down. And so it has a collar, just like around your neck. It has a collar that bolts it up to the dash support. So you loosen those, or you take those bolts out and disconnect any wires, or not. If they come out the bottom, you leave them, and you let that drop down onto the seat. And then that allows you room to get the dash out. It's really a lot of work to do that. It is possible that where that steering shaft telescopes within itself, because it's not a solid shaft, as I said. A pogo stick, as you can imagine, like the push-pull or push pin on a ballpoint pen, it's a shaft within a shaft. You understand my thoughts or my vision here? Okay, so here we got a round shaft and a round shaft. Well, round would just slip within the shaft. So what we do is we take the outer shaft housing and we put a rectangular slot in it, and we make it, instead of a round hole, we make a round hole, but it's got two keyways, and so therefore it looks like a rectangle with rounded ends. You picture that?
I do.
Okay, and then we take the shaft that's hooked to the steering wheel and we shove it down in there, and so that there's no clearance, but there's got to be enough clearance that in a wreck it's forced and can compress. However, over time, when that works, it doesn't go back and forth because you don't hit anything. But when you turn, I say up and down. I mean, it doesn't telescope normally. It never telescopes normally but every time you turn left and right, you're working the shaft within its shaft. You see where I'm going now?
I do, yes, sir.
And to that end, manufacturers, as a rule, will use plastic, cement, or uncured plastic that cures out once it goes in place. And to that end, like a GM U-joint doesn't have circlips that holds the joint in. They use epoxy, and they fill all once they centralize it, so they fill it with epoxy. So when you take it apart to replace the joint, you have to shear that epoxy and break that epoxy. It's hard to do because it's plastic. So I said all that to say that here's what I want you to do. If you were to crank the car up and it's static, sitting in your driveway, and you turn the wheel left and right using your finger and your thumb, I don't want you to be a massive man here. I want you to be delicate and take your finger and your thumb and move the steering wheel just to left and right to feel the obvious play. You with me now?
I'm so with you.
Okay, then I want you to do that. Then I want you to have maybe an associate or your wife, or I heard her in the background, I think, or someone that you show. Here's what I want you to do while this truck is idling. I want you to, in park. I want you to turn the steering wheel, and then she'll say, "Oh, I feel that." Well, okay, I don't want you to move the steering box. I want you to move the play in between the time that I move my hand and the steering box moves. Then I want you to go under the hood to the coupling where it's connected to the steering box, and while another person is inside moving the steering wheel ever so slightly, which is probably going to be 2 or 3 minutes or 4 minutes of play, depending. It certainly, I'd say probably. How much play does it have? 1 finger, 2 fingers, what?
Oh, I would say about 2 fingers.
Okay, then that person is moving the steering wheel 2 fingers. You're looking at the gearbox, and it ain't moving. So it's got to be play between the box and the top. Now, it just so happens, because the steering wheel is aimed at the gearbox, and the gearbox isn't conveniently located where it can go straight, they have to put another U-joint in this under the hood. So the steering wheel could aim at the grill, and then it could go, and then it could be a U-joint, and that U-joint turns and lets that same shaft, another shaft, aim at the steering box, which is for all intents and purposes, you would point to it, you'd be looking at the bumper. So what you've got is a steering shaft that comes through the firewall that hooks to a U-joint that allows that another shaft to change directions ever so slightly, angle, that goes down to what it's necessary to properly mate to the input shaft of the steering box. And so I suspect that you've got a steering shaft U-joint that has gone bad. And I just mixed 2 different components here. The telescoping thing is one thing, and if you replace the U-joint, that's probably going to be replaced at the same time. But here's what for you to do, and this is something that's really easy to do, and that's why I'm being specific here. You can work that play or massage that play while you're looking at the other end that's not moving. That's why it's called play. And then you can say, okay, if the gearbox is not moving and the steering wheel is moving, what's between the two? And therein lies what is wrong with your car. You got it?
I do.
Questions?
No, you were quite thorough.
Yeah,
it was just beyond me that it happened when the dash was taken off.
Well,
it makes so much sense what you're saying.
I agree, and to that end, we have had those joints. If it's a U-joint bad, and you'll see it too, we've had those. It's either the U-joint bad, or if the U-joint is moving with the gearbox, then it's got to be upstairs, and if it's north of the U-joint, and I'm not talking about the U-joint in the truck. I'm talking about the U-joint in the steering shaft. So if it's in the shaft, then it's got to be in the shaft itself, and then you replace that shaft. But we've had vehicles where that joint was bad, and the owner would come in and say, I got a problem here, and I turn to the right, the steering wheel sort of locks up and binds, and then turn to the left, it's okay. Well, that's because they're putting that joint through, the straightaway, and then you're moving to the right, it puts it through a pace or a position it doesn't like. And so I actually had to learn that. You'd think I'd already learned that. I learned that this year on a particular car, or last year, because the complaint was so unusual. And so the technician gets to the car and turns it to the right and turns, well, I don't feel anything wrong. Well, go drive the car. And therein lies the communication issue. Hey, thanks so much for holding, and let me know when you get to the other end what you find and see if we're right on the money. And folks, back with your calls. Don't go away. This Engine Care Spotlight is brought to you by Walker Products, a leading manufacturer of quality fuel system components and engine management sensors. Many of today's diesel-powered vehicles are equipped with computer-controlled diesel emission systems that reduce soot and tailpipe emissions. These computers require accurate information from engine sensors. The Exhaust Gas Temperature Sensor, or EGT, relays the temperature of the diesel exhaust gases to the computer to properly control the exhaust gas after treatment system. This not only helps reduce harmful emissions, but also protects your vehicle. A faulty EGT sensor can have serious consequences. In addition to a dash warning light, you may experience a clogged diesel particulate filter, DPF, improper regeneration of the DPF, and overfueling, which can lead to failure of exhaust components or even internal engine damage. Walker Products offers OE quality sensors at aftermarket prices, and any skilled do-it-yourselfer can do the job. Learn more at walkerproducts.com. Berryman Products is celebrating their 100th anniversary, providing innovative products to the automotive aftermarket, like Berryman B33 Engine Degreaser. Using a biodegradable formula is an environmentally safe proprietary blend of high-performance detergents and emulsifiers that penetrates accumulated road grime, dirt, and oil. B33 Engine Degreaser leaves components clean with no oily residue, and the fast spray-on, rinse-off cycle saves time and conserves water. Learn more at berrymanproducts.com.
What 100-year-old automotive company makes dozens of products to extend your vehicle's life and improve its performance?
Let me see.
Which company uses high-energy solvent technology, or HEST?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
What company introduced B12 Chem Tool over 40 years ago? Still the best fuel system cleaner on the market?
Oh, don't tell me it's
Berryman Automotive Products. Correct. Berryman Automotive Products has lubricants, cleaners, solvents, hundreds of solutions, and every product all American-made since 1918. You'll find Berryman Automotive Products at AutoZone, Pep Boys, and Walmart. Now, why would you buy anything else?
You sure ask a lot of questions.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip
from Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. 888 Car Clinic is the number if you have a burning car question or a regular car question. Doesn't have to be burning one. At Watch Bobby Live, which is our video site, Sander Pina is a viewer, and she had a question, or he had a question. Sander says, I have an Optima yellow top battery in my truck. Any better battery out there? Well, you know, Sander, not for my money. Number one, you have an AGM battery. And earlier, we had Jason Searle on from Johnson Controls, and we talked a lot about the AGM battery process. But let me share with you the difference between the red top and the yellow top battery, because in my Viper, I installed a red top Optima, and now you have the yellow top. Well, the red top has a higher amp output in short bursts, but it has a shallower discharge cycle. Now, I'll tell you what that means. The yellow top battery supports a load like electrical accessories, and so in my Jag, I would, with all the accessories, I would prefer a yellow top AGM battery and install that. But in the Viper, I put in the red top because I have a big 10-cylinder engine, and I need that instant burst to light it off. And the yellow top has a deep cycle, and of course, a deep cycle means that you can discharge and charge that battery more times and deeper. And in other words, more discharge, build it back up, discharge, build it back up, than a normal battery. And so it's a better battery. So is there a better battery? Not to my knowledge, but just for your information, Sander, go to autobatteries.com and get technical information, and you'll learn more about the construction of an AGM battery, and also learn more about what the advantages are. So folks, here's a a very interesting, I got this other call, and I'll invite you to call to 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Hannah will take your call and put you in the queue, and when I see that you're in the queue, I will take your question. So again, that's 888-227-2546. So I've had this information that I'm going to share with you now for several weeks, and I just haven't had or made the opportunity to share it with you. But it's a question from, again, a Car Clinic listener in our chat room about installing an LED light system in his vehicle. So I reached out to the folks at Sylvania, and here's what I learned. In the U.S., and get this now, in the United States, it is illegal to replace a halogen bulb with an LED bulb or system. The only way to have LED headlights is to get them on the car new as original equipment, or by changing out the whole assembly to a DOT-approved system, Department of Transportation approved system. And while there are people in this country that have purchased LED products online, none are approved per the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Why? Good question. LED bulbs don't perform exactly like halogens. The halogen system is designed around the filament, which gives off light in a 360-degree uniform pattern. LEDs do not have the same output angles and uniformity, so the light doesn't connect with the assembly as prescribed. So when you put an LED light in there, it can cause dark spots for the driver or blinding glare spots for the oncoming traffic. So a lot of drivers will say that LEDs are putting great light in the road, and that may be true, but to the detriment of other drivers. And just last evening on my way home, there was a car coming down the hill near my house, and I was going up the hill, and these lights were blinding, and I blinked my lights, and sure enough, the lights were on bright. And you can't tell sometimes these days, but also always, if you're in the neighborhood or you have an oncoming car, make sure your headlights or you dim your lights. Now, on the other hand, with regard to LED, people are buying unofficial, lower quality LED systems. But here's the bottom line. Those are inexpensive LED bulbs. They come with poor beam performance, and the cheap bulbs equal cheap and poor performance. This is not a sales pitch for Sylvania, but Sylvania is, after all, the lighting company, Sylvania and Phillips. So for new cars, Sylvania's LEDs are installed in low beam systems like the Ford Explorer, the F-150, Audi, and BMW, and they perform at an unmatched rate with both output and efficiencies. And folks, to close, obviously, online LED providers are breaking the laws for IP infringement, while credible companies like Sylvania and Phillips must follow the rules. And I want to thank Brian at Sylvania for providing me this information on LED systems. And for more information, you can Google LED, you can Google Sylvania lighting, and get all the details. But just remember, while you may change your system from its current halogen system to an LED, you're not buying a system that's approved by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. We'll take a call from Kevin in California. Kevin, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Got an '88 Mustang, and I got no spark. And cause I can't, it turns over, but it won't start. So I checked the fuel. I got pressure at the fuel rail. Got about 25 pounds.
Okay.
And then next thing would be the spark. And that's going to be the TFI, wouldn't it? Or would it be the coil would be the first angle of attack?
Well, I would first thing I would do, of course, you've already, is this it's not a coil-over car, is it? I mean,
No. It's not a distributor.
Okay, so well, the first thing to do is pull the coil wire out of the distributor, not out of the coil, out of the distributor, and then hold that. You don't have any raw fuel around the engine, right?
No.
Okay.
The fuel's
all right.
sealed up.
So Kevin, pull the coil wire out of the distributor cap. Hold it about 1/4 of an inch from an engine part. That's not your hand, by the way. That's a part. And you know, the cam cover, the valve cover, the intake manifold, and then have someone spin the engine over and see if it sparks. So that's the first thing to do, because you could have something so simple as a defective or bad or broken rotor, and you would have spark going in the distributor but not being distributed to the individual spark plugs. So that's the first thing we want to know. You said it didn't have any spark. How do you know it didn't? Have you already done that?
Well, I need to get an assistant. I went to get it going, and you know, I checked the fuel first, and the fuel pump comes on. You can hear that.
Right.
And then I didn't have my. I figured the next thing was the spark.
Okay. All right. So here's my concern. In your mind, you've already established in your mind that there's no fuel in the engine. There's no spark to the engine because you have fuel. That's not necessarily true. You could have fuel going to the fuel rail, but no injector pulse. And so you could spin it from all day long, and there's no fuel being delivered to the engine. So here's the easiest thing for you to do. I want you to try this before you test the spark, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any brake cleaner or something that's flammable in a spray can? You know, almost everything is. I mean, actually, I've used hairspray on the road sometime. I helped a person one day to get an old car started using hairspray, because hairspray will burn too. So what I want you to do is pull the air filter out and spray, maybe 3 good spurts of flammable cleaner into the intake tube of the engine. And then I want you to go around and see if it'll crank. And now, if it does crank, it means you have a fueling problem. Now it's not going to run; it's going to go, and then it'll go dead because you burned up whatever mist that you've misted. But at least that will save you a whole bunch of time and investigative work. And gosh, there are many times that I've seen my own technicians spend an hour trying to decide what exactly was wrong with the vehicle when it wasn't getting any fuel, but yet it had fuel pressure, but doesn't mean the injectors are working. So that's what I would do first, is to give it an external squirt of, not gasoline, because that's too dangerous, something that's flammable that you can squirt with a spray can. You got it?
Yes, I do. I got some ether. I'll get on that and check that.
Oh, that's great, man. Ether. Yeah, that's good. Ether and starting fluid is really good, but most people don't have starting fluid around. But anyway, so Kevin, do that first, and then if it would crank and run, albeit short burst, with external pressure, then you don't have any distributor problem, ignition problem. You've got a fuel injector problem. I hope that's really not your issue, because I think an injector problem that's not firing is going to be a lot more sophisticated than an ignition problem that's not firing. Having said that, if you had a crank sensor problem, then you would have both those problems, because it is the ECM that when you turn the key on, the computer, and you spin the starter over, the computer sees the engine turning before it will do anything upstream or downstream. And downstream means a fire, ignition, or turn the fuel pump on. It's got to see the engine turning over, and if the crank sensor was not working, it doesn't know you're turning the motor over. The starter's going rrr, 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 and the engine's going rrr, rrr, but the electronics are, hey, you know, the engine's not moving. You see where I'm going there?
Gotcha. I'll check those.
Yeah,
things.
yeah, do that. Hey, thanks for calling. Where do you live in California?
Sacramento.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, thanks for calling. Let me know what you find when you get to the other side. I'm here every Saturday.
Will do, Bobby.
All right, thank you, my friend.
Bye.
And Kevin, he's already gone. But I meant to tell him this, because his car qualifies for the summer rebate promo. I say his car does because he drives a Ford product. So if you drive a Ford or a Chevrolet or a Buick, well, that's a GM car. Okay, a GM car, all of the GM cars, and a Dodge or a Jeep, then there's a summer rebate promo for Diablo Sport. So no better time now than to take advantage of the great rebate from Diablo Sport and get the power that you can feel. So you can go to diablosport.com for a $20, a $40, or a $60 rebate depending on the model and the tuner that you buy at Diablo Sport. More car data, more car fun when I come back.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside, and know there's true strength on the inside.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease, and she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to today's broadcast. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by K-Seal, the one-step permanent multi-purpose system for coolant leak repair, including head gaskets, engine blocks, water pumps, and radiators. You can learn more at kseal.com. Okay, I want to share with you, as an aside, from cars. That's right, I talk about other things in cars. 5G. So I have this information on 5G. So back in January, I haven't had it since January, but in January, AT&T announced its plans to be the first major network to roll out 5G service to 12 U.S. population centers by the end of this year, starting with 2 in Dallas, in Texas, well, Dallas and Waco, and Atlanta. And while other locations have been kept under wraps, as far as I know since then, the carrier officially revealed that next up are Charlotte and Raleigh in North Carolina and Oklahoma. Now, so what does that have to do with cars? A whole lot, really. 5G will change the way that, we enjoy entertainment and in our cars and our homes as well, but specifically on our phones. And the bottom line is, when you think about, and I'm reminded of Tesla, when you think about cars, and recently we had a gentleman on from GM that talked about a program that would automatically be downloaded that would allow you remember that, Fabio, that would allow you to shop from your car or buy gasoline from your car. And it was a GM engineer, or I forget what his title was, doesn't matter. The bottom line, folks, is you're driving down the road in your 2020 car, 2012 car, 2015 car, with OnStar, and they will push the program to you, and it goes on the dash of your car. And this is, well, I'll take that back. I stand corrected. I think it was it was, Fabio, 2017 and later GM cars have this function. Okay, and it was a marketplace. What was it called again? Marketplace? Rick Ruskin. Okay, thank you so much. So Rick Ruskin from GM was with us, and he talked about Marketplace, and this is an app that is pushed to your car. Of course, you have to approve it. You don't have to download it automatically. But what's so neat, because you pull up to a gas station, and it was a Mobil Exxon, as I remember. You pull up to a gas station, and you fill your car with gas, and you pay through the app, and you never have to pull your credit card out. You never have to swipe anything, so there's no chance of someone, you're reading your card at a gas station. That did happen to me one time, and American Express caught it. But the bottom line, that technology that we experience today is getting faster and faster than ever, and the 5G is going to allow more real-time, on-time controls. And now I'm moving into the autonomous car arena, because that's what's going to be really required to, and I say that not because I know that, but because from the experience that and the articles that I've read and studied and researched, the 5G will provide a faster service for us, but also fast enough for your autonomous vehicle to safely drive in. And to that, there's another, which reminds me, Lyft, and another company called Aptiv, A-P-T-I-V. They have 5,000 self-driving rides in Las Vegas. And Lyft announced recently that its riders have completed 5,000 rides in Aptiv's self-driving fleet in Las Vegas. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, the scheme, which was previewed at CES, allows regular Lyft users to hail a self-driving car for quick trips between the Vegas hotspots. And I've been there years and years, and for SEMA show and for the CES Consumer Electronics Show, which unusual for a car guy. I actually favor the CES show over SEMA. I really do. Now, the Consumer Electronics Show is all about home theater and what have you, but it's also has evolved over the last 15 years into all things automotive as well, because it's one and the same. What we enjoy in our home now, we're starting to enjoy in our cars. The connectivity, the video, the real-time mapping. I've often said, if I could just take my iPhone and it be my center stack, with a nice 10-inch, 12-inch screen, it would be a whole lot better than having to use what my car tries to do, meaning navigation system, and what my iPhone does with what appears to be little effort. So you put all that together, and you think about where we're going with 5G technology, and it's an exciting times for us. 888 Car Clinic is the number. Still plenty of time for you to get your call in. 888-227-2546. Now I want to shift gears. If you ignore these vehicle repairs, you could get pulled over. And this is according to carcare.org, our partners at the Car Care Council. So many of you drivers feel that you don't have the time or money to address vehicle repairs immediately. But beware that ignoring some repairs can get you pulled over and even ticketed, according to the Car Care Council. And I couldn't agree more. Here's a little more information. Ignoring certain vehicle repairs may seem to save money in the short term, but can lead to extra costs such as fines or fix-it tickets if these problems aren't taken care of when they arise. And that's according to, and I agree 100% with Rich White, the executive director of the Car Care Council. And in fact, in some jurisdictions, Rich says, car owners may even lose their license for certain violations. A few dollars spent on simple vehicle repairs can help avoid trouble with the law. The Car Care Council recommends that drivers address these repairs right away because they present public safety concerns that can earn you a ticket on top of a repair bill. And here are a few of those. Non-functioning turn signals in headlights or taillights, and also limbs that are cracked or broken. Most states require vehicles to have I think all states require that your turn signals work, your brake lights work. If not, I highly recommend you get them and make them work, and crack windshields. Now, there is a hot button for you. How many cars, notice this coming week, and Fabio, you're smiling in the control room.
Yeah, mine's definitely been cracked for a long time.
Yeah. Well, cracked windshields. If a windshield's cracked, discolored, or tinted in a way that obstructs your vision as the driver, you may get ticketed and fined. And in some states, vehicle modifications such as tinted windows are prohibited. License plate. And to that end, folks, I for the power of me, I can't understand the feeling that a state trooper or a law enforcement person would have walking up to an automobile with windows so dark that you cannot see inside, and walking up to the driver's side asking the driver to put his or her window down. I don't know that I would do that. And I know that, and also I learned in the last 5 years, fancy that if you get stopped by a state trooper for speeding, which I have been, not in the last 5 years, but before, you're not supposed to get out of the car. I always got out of the car. But I understand you're not supposed to get out of the car, at least in the state of Florida. I get out of the car because I think it's safer for the officer for me to be out of the car seeing my hands than to walk up to a car. Anyway, that's just my opinion. And it's worked for me because I've never had anybody tell me, get back in the car. Never. Now, license plates. Here's another. This is so obvious, thanks to the Car Care Council, but it's great information. License plates that are unreadable. If the license plate light is out, or if the plate is otherwise unreadable, you know what I mean, that you can be pulled over. And in some states, that includes clear or tinted plastic lens plate covers. And I know that there are many people that buy those plastic lens covers because of, to shield your license plate number. Well, in some states, that's illegal. And quite candidly, if it were up to me, it'd be illegal in all states. And then last but not least, loud exhaust systems. A defective exhaust, well, that's too loud, either because it's been modified or because it needs repair, can cause you to get a ticket. What's considered loud depends on the state. And so how many of us have pulled up to a traffic light with a vehicle next door that you can't see inside, that has a boom going so loud that you can't think? This happened to me this week. And an exhaust system that's even louder than the boom box going on inside the car. Hey, that doesn't work for me, but the bottom line is, in states like Virginia, where they don't even allow radar detectors, which, you know, by the law, by the federal mandated law for FM or radio receivers, and that's what a radar detector is. Federal law says everybody can have a radar detector, but in the state of Virginia says we don't care what the feds say, you can't have it in our state. Anyway, don't ignore this information or these vehicle repairs, because you could get pulled over. But if you put all that aside, and thanks to the Car Care Council, if you put all that aside, folks, to drive a safe car and to be seen in your car, be safe and be seen, it's well worth your time and energy. So when you think next of car maintenance, which I know for you means time to change the oil. Really? Time to change the oil is not maintenance. You should say time to get an inspection for my car, which, oh, by the way, includes an oil and filter change. That's the mindset, and that's what we do at our service shop that our customers appreciate. So there you have it. There's the information. And for more information, you go to carcare.org. That's the Car Care Council. They're partners of ours. They are a nonprofit organization, and on that site there are videos, there are, there's so many things that you can learn just by going to that one site, that you could probably have to go to 100 sites if you knew what sites to go to collectively to learn the information that's on that one site, carcare.org. So that's really way cool. I'll tell you another thing that's way cool. It's being able to share with you and have the privilege to share with you information that I learn every week. This week has been probably the busiest week in our service shop in a long time. I won't say years, but it certainly was a huge week for us. And when you have 2 or 3 or 4 car owners waiting to be talked with and communicated with at the service desk, and you have the phone behind you that's ringing, and you have the office manager, that would be Miss Jan, who used to be our screener, as you know, buzzing you that there's line 1 or line 2 needs an appointment. And then you have a technician that's over there. You see that technician out of sight, but they're not out of sight. They're just barely off sight, waiting. It can be hectic, to say the very least. So you have to prioritize and say, okay, what's important here? Well, number one, Jan, please take a number. That will take care of the immediate, your line 1, line 2, line 3, okay? And then you acknowledge the people that come in. How many times have you been to a restaurant and where somebody says, oh, hi Bobby, or hi Jan, or Mary, or Jerry, or what have you? I mean, then it's okay, because you know they saw you. So if you're in the business, folks, and a person walks up and you're with someone, just nod at them and let them know that you're going to be with them. And then that buys you the time that you need to properly talk with the person. And that's why I say that's a morning rush. That's why when I help you here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and I say go to see your service provider, whether it's a dealership or independent or a chain store, don't go at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Wait till after 10 o'clock, so all that mass confusion is over. And then these guys at the service desk, or ladies, can take a break, and then you walk up and say, I've got an issue here. And gosh, well, it's great that you didn't come 2 hours earlier, because there would be 5 or 6 or a dozen people that had the same issue. And if you've ever been to a dealership, a big dealership, And I'm thinking of the John Hall Group in Daytona Beach. You ever been to a big dealership? They have 6 lanes just in the Chevy store, 6 or 7 lanes that hold 4 or 5 cars each. You have 20 cars. Granted, they have more than 2 service riders there, but in the big scheme of things, in that mass rush in the morning, there are never enough people there that can take the time that you would feel better with. And of all of the great things that my team has done and does do and we do on an ongoing basis, whether you're spending money with us or not, or whether you're here for advice or not, we give you time. And I will tell you, we are finding that car owners that come to our shop are so appreciative. So I would just say this to you, and I say this to everyone listening across the globe and across the United States, and for those that are in the business, and for those of you that need those of us in the business, go to Car Clinic Service, that's our website, and just look. Look at the reviews that we have had this year. There are more than 380 5-star reviews, and read what some of our customers say about us. Why? Because not only does it give us the invigoration to step up to the plate, but we're back here every week doing the same thing. Hey, take it easy, take care of your car. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
It's O'Reilly's Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 250 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Today's vehicles have more than 150 electrical accessories for safety, comfort, and sustainability. 7 times the number 20 years ago. Only AGM batteries are precision engineered to meet this electrical demand by reliably supporting backup cameras, start-stop technology, and many other devices. AGM batteries have longer life than standard flooded batteries and are non-spillable. Acid will not leak during installation or during an accident. When you need a new battery, make sure you ask for an AGM battery to meet today's evolving electrical needs.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, loaded, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow, now you're here.